We're going to look at the role of the first derivative in curve sketching. What's useful about the first derivative, of course, is that it tells us the slope of the function. And so if we take a look at this function right here, if we know the derivative, we know what the slope is in various places. The sign of the derivative tells us if the function is increasing or decreasing. And so if we took a look at this function and its derivative here in blue, we can see that where this function is increasing, right up to that critical point right there, the derivative is positive. It's above the x-axis. Where this function is decreasing, the derivative is negative. It's below the x-axis. And of course, where this function is increasing, the derivative is positive. It's above the x-axis. Now, to help us along, we are actually going to define intervals of increase and decrease, so we can talk about it in uniformity within that interval. And so, for example, in the interval from a to b right now, this function is continuously decreasing, and we don't have to think about awkward things like, gee, does it go up or go down? You'll notice in this interval, on the other hand, there's a mixture of decreasing and a mixture of increasing, and we want to avoid that. So we want to identify intervals that are only increasing or decreasing. Now, intervals of increase or decrease are separated by critical points. And of course, we know critical points are turning points, but also critical points may be cusps, or they may be asymptotes, such as here. And finally, we can determine the sign of the derivative in an interval if we manage to pull it out into its various factors and examine the sign of the factors in that interval. In order to help us with that, we are dividing it up into what is referred to affectionately as an interval table, where each of the factors are examined and their sign within the interval is also examined, and we look at the product of those signs to figure out if it's increasing or decreasing. And that is a summary or a preamble for what we are looking at for the first derivative and curve sketching.